Hi there everybody, Dave here from HeyUGuys, and today we will be talking about The Fast and the Furious, number 8. And today I'm joined by the wonderful Stefanovic Papovic.
Hello there.
The awesome Scotticus J. Davison.
Hello.
And our special guest star, all the way from Hollywood, quite frankly, from the Hollywood News, Paul Heath.
Hello, can you hear me?
Coming
Yeah,
in
hello.
loud and clear.
Yeah, there's a slight delay, but that's obviously the distance.
All
Okay,
the way
carry
from
on.
the Hollywood News. And obviously, if you are a regular reader or listener or viewer, you will know that Stefan and Eve do their Pape and Eve show from Toronto. And
He's a Pape, but that's
sorry.
not split hairs.
So we thought that we should probably get them back together again. So there you go. And so, like I say, today we will be talking about The Fast and the Furious, which we all saw. Most of us saw it last night. Stefan saw it last
saw it a
week
while ago.
for the junket.
All
Here's a photo of all the cast looking all happy. It's not.
Which one would you be, Dave?
That's a good question. Kurt Russell, because he's a ledge.
Yeah. Mr. Nobody. Fitting.
Yeah, Mr. How rude.
He'd worked on that for quite a while before
Yeah.
he started. Yeah.
He set me up though.
You played right into his hands there.
Which one would you be then, Stefan? Jason on the end there, look.
Yeah, I'd probably go for Michelle Rodriguez.
Would you?
Love a bit of Vin Diesel, me.
Yeah, good lad. I'll go for The Rock, so I've clearly got the body. Or Statham, to be honest.
Yeah.
Either one.
And
Got the
Scott?
sort of skin tone of The Rock, which
That's
you
true,
know,
actually,
just come
you
back.
have at the moment.
I'm very tan from my holiday, so yes, looking good.
Scott?
I'd say Stave, only because I'm losing my hair. Just so I'll
Right.
be looking like him in,
Well, you
in a
could
couple
be
of months.
Vin,
So I'll
then.
just be Scott Eastwood, I guess.
To be honest, you could
Seems
be
he's the
most
same
of the
name.
people in that photo. Except for Game of Thrones man, who's real.
It is quite a... Yeah, I mean, he's got enough hair to make up for all the people that haven't, though, to be fair.
It was funny in the final scene where they're back at they're back in snow, and I couldn't just. It was like he'd just come off the Game of Thrones set and walked onto
Yeah.
that one. It was quite amusing.
And I wouldn't put it past the Fast and Furious franchise to have some White Walkers.
It's true.
Ah,
What,
Paul
yeah.
Walker.
So anyway, enough of this silliness. We are going to be talking about the movie. Stefan put our 4-star review up last week, and Eve, you agreed with him, didn't you?
I did actually, yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with him, which is a first, I think. Well, it's the first for a while.
Yeah.
So,
Manchester
yeah.
by the
yeah.
Sea and La La Land you both gushed over, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. But everyone disagreed with me last night, so I'm glad that he's on the line so we can talk about it.
So Stefan,
Yeah.
do you want to give a brief overview of what this film's about and how it sort of connects to the previous one and that sort of thing?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, obviously, Dominic Toretto's Vin Diesel's character is always the kind of the lead. He's the kind of head of this family, particularly now, obviously, with Paul Walker no longer. with us.
You mean family?
Family, and he's on his kind of honeymoon, it seems, with Michelle Rodriguez, his character, and he's kind of seduced into a world of crime by this character called Cypher, played by Charlize Theron, and we don't really understand why, but he has to turn his back on his crew that he holds so dear, and they all have to try and sort of work out what has influenced this betrayal, but they haven't really got time to hold a grudge because he appears to be manufacturing a nuclear war. So Hobbs, Dwayne Johnson's character, and then Roman, played by Tyrese Gibson, and Tage, played by Ludacris, and Ramsey, played by Natalie Emmanuel, they're kind of hot on his trail, and they might even need to call in some former foes to help them take down Dom. But the whole film really hinges on whether what he's really up to, because we don't really know where his sort of intentions lie, and it's quite a more mysterious entry into this franchise, I think.
I mean, these films are completely insane. I'm watching the first one again this evening, actually, and I'm quite looking forward to just going back to what seemed like vague normality. I mean, now they've basically become the James Bond of the car world. Has it had its day? Do you think that this is, is it getting a bit too ludicrous, to coin a phrase there? Scott, what do you think?
I wouldn't say so. I think this is the kind of film that the audiences seem to love. It's the right mix of humor, of action, and everything in between. There's lots of nonsense, but sometimes you need a bit of nonsense, don't you? In a summer blockbuster, and this seems to be doing it better than some of the comic book movies or some of the studios are doing. So I don't think it will go. I think $1 billion the last time, or $1.5 billion for number 7. It's not going anywhere. I think if it's going anywhere, it's probably going into space, isn't it? I guess that's the next thing that everyone's talking about. But no, I think it will continue. There's already 2 more in the pipeline already, isn't there? There's 2 kind of set for. I think it's 2019 and 2021 or 2020. So yeah, it's not going anywhere. I think there's a huge audience for it that enjoy the mix of thrills and spills that it delivers.
And Eve, you loved this, didn't you? Like, big time.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. This sort of film plays right into my hands, really. So I mean, it's a long film. It's got so many plot holes. It's completely daft in terms of bringing characters back. But it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Because when you're having such a good time, as good a time as I was having last night, it doesn't matter. This is what it's doing, what the fans want. It delivers in spades, and I just don't know what else you want from it, really. It's just
if you had to critically analyse it, you'd be here all day, wouldn't you? Just picking out all the flaws. But why would you do that? That's not what this film is for. It's just it's completely nuts. But 8 films in suggests that is exactly what people want. So
it doesn't care anymore. And I disagree. I've seen a report this morning that says the opening of this film is tracking higher than Furious 7. So I think it's going to be bigger than the last film. So, and that was just this morning. So I think we're in for a huge film, biggest of the year so far, definitely. So I don't know. Time will tell. Weekend's coming. We'll find out.
And Stefan, you're completely with him, right?
Yeah, completely. I just think that it is absurd, and the one-liners are so badly written. It's like I wrote them when I was 7 years old. They've got no wit to them whatsoever. But it's kind of part of the film's charm. I think if the film was any better made, it would be a lesser movie. It's got this kind of. It's weird. It kind of blends this kind of B-movie feel with a film that actually has some incredible stunts and action sequences. I mean, some of the kind of set pieces in this. I think there's one scene where cars are falling out of a sort of window on this kind of high-story building. It's got that kind of B-movie kind of quality to it, but actually is an incredibly well-made film that doesn't devalue or cheapen the kind of narrative with its kind of effects. I think it's just a complete riot by the finish. They try and make every film bigger than the last, and they're actually succeeding. Usually that can actually backfire, I think, when people try and outdo what they kind of did before and play into the audience's hands. But with these films, they're actually succeeding in being bigger and bolder and stupider and faster and furiouser than the last.
Clever.
Slip it in.
Easy, boss. I love this movie. I think this franchise did dip. I thought the first couple I really enjoyed, and I think it did get a bit crap. 3 and 4 weren't so good, but from 5 onwards, I think they've just gone, this is the formula that works. This is what people want. Let's just give them it in spades, and I love it. And also, it's quite progressive as well. This franchise. There's lots of strong female characters and a really diverse cast. It doesn't play up to stereotypes.
Of Kurt Russell up to completely.
Yeah, a really diverse cast. You put a picture up of Kurt Russell.
Yes.
But it's a really great franchise. I think it's the sort of thing we'll look back on in about sort of 40 or 50 years. Probably actually it'll still be going, so we won't be looking back. But I just think it's a real kind of, has a real place in kind of cinematic history, I think, this franchise.
Did this movie miss Paul Walker? Because obviously this is the first film where we haven't seen him appear. I felt like something was lacking, and I wasn't sure what it was. I don't know, even though there's so many people in the cast, I felt like there was something missing from it, and I don't know if it was him or if it was just something else.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it missed because I think that, particularly because this narrative is about Dom kind of switching allegiances, and the Paul Walker's character was his closest kind of friend. So
they do pay reference to him, don't they, in the film?
Yeah,
and they purposefully say we can't go back to Brian.
Exactly, yeah, and I think that would have been that would have been a really interesting angle to take, to see how their friendship or their relationship would have been kind of affected by Dom's betrayal of his family. So I think he was missing, particularly from a kind of, not just from a kind of just in general, because obviously he's such a staple of the franchise, but I think even narratively speaking, I think that his character could have had such an important role to play in this. But having said that, the film doesn't kind of pause for breath. There's so many characters and so many people and so many cameos. I mean, Helen Mirren's in here. It doesn't really allow you time to stop and start wondering what you might be missing or too involved in what you're kind of receiving. But I think in hindsight, you do look back on the film and think it is obviously, of course, he was missed in this film because he's such a huge part of this franchise.
Big time. What did you think, Paul? What was not right with it? I know you're a big fan, but.
So I would have liked a little bit more of Helen Mirren. She's only in a couple of scenes, and I think her character would have benefited from a few more choice words in terms of fruity language. So I would like, to hear a bit, because the film. I mean, the film was a 15, I think. Is that right? I mean, it had the sort of. Her character didn't really have a lot of depth because she didn't really have a lot of time in the film, but it's quite key to the sort of to the story, roughly, isn't it? So. I think I'd like to have seen a bit more of her. There's another character towards the end that sort of just dips in, which I would have liked to have seen a bit more of. Just because I love the dynamic that you briefly see between him and another character. I think the baby scene at the end I loved with
Statham. So Statham has this amazing banter with a baby, and he's blatantly not looking at a baby in any of the shots that he does because they're all cutaways from a baby just being filmed. But keep your eyes peeled on the baby because there are two babies, which is confirmed by the credits at the end, who aren't actually related, which makes sense because if you look at the babies, they don't look the same. Even though
I didn't notice that.
Yeah,
all babies look the same. Really.
Yeah, they do, mate. They do.
It's true. But the Statham baby banter is very funny, and also the Statham Dwayne Johnson banter when they're in their prison sequence is very funny as well. Especially when Jason Statham calls Dwayne Johnson a wanker, which was quite funny.
I think he's probably the best part of the film, Statham, in this. He probably, for me, him and The Rock are obviously Dwayne Johnson. They are the two. I mean, Vin Diesel's wasted, I think, a little bit in this film. He sort of drifts off, obviously, because he goes rogue. But these two have a lot of time to shine. And it becomes their film, nearly. And they steal the show. I don't know what anyone else thought. But certainly, from my point of view, and Dave, I went with my mate, who thought exactly the same. And he'd not seen any of the other films, but enjoyed it equally as much as I had. But thought those two were the big standouts.
What do you think of Charlize Theron in this one, Scott?
Yeah, I thought she was great. As Stefan said, it was nice to see a female villain and some strong female characters in there. I think there's a couple, isn't there, this year? I think Cate Blanchett, obviously we saw the Thor trailer yesterday, is obviously going to be the big bad in Ragnarok. And I thought she did really well. She had good fun with it. I don't think it was too hammy. I thought she was quite sinister in a way in many regards. And Chile getting some weed.
She looks like she spent a couple of weeks kind of like travelling around Southeast Asia. She just kind of looks.
Someone did say that they sort of hoped that Tom Hardy might show up. I was Kassam last night was saying that Tom Hardy would be good to show up with her as what's her name in Mad Max? Furiosa. Yeah, Furiosa.
Yeah. Fast and Furiosa 9. There we go.
Furiosa.
See you later.
Brilliant. She was really good, and I thought she made a decent villain. She wasn't, I think she was, I'd say, quite sinister and quite engaging as a villain. I think Paul's right though. I think the whole movie rests on Statham and Dwayne Johnson. I think without those two, I think the whole film pretty much falls apart.
There was one thing that did let me down, and that was, I don't know if this is a spoiler or not, but there's no post credits. So the only reason I say that
how do you know that, Paul? Did you sit there and watch them all?
No, I left.
Oh, you left, did you? Right.
I asked you. I was absolutely bursting, so I had to go. So I'd had 2 beers, you see, before, and it just really doesn't. I'm getting old. I'm 40 years old now. So anyway, but because
happy
there's
birthday,
9,
by the way.
Oh, thank you. That's all right. It's a bit late, but anyway, but because there's a 9 and a 10 already sort of greenlit. I thought they would have dropped something in because you remember that scene in the end of the 6th, I think it was, when all hell breaks loose and one of the crew's killed, and then after the credits you just see Jason Statham. It's just like, I remember watching that and punching the air as it came on screen, and I was praying that there was going to be something else in this, but it's just left. And whether they're going to drop something in when the film gets a proper release on Wednesday this week.
But we saw it. What day did we see it? Monday night, and it's out Wednesday. So it's possible that the print we saw was a press print, but it was. Well, I guess when you watch this video, let us know when you've seen the film if there is a post-credits sequence. But there wasn't when we saw it.
I think it needs someone. I think it needs one to engage audiences and make them look forward to something that's coming in, like, I don't know, 2 or 3 years time. I don't know.
Absolutely.
We sat there afterwards just theorising as to what it could have been or who it could have been, whether it was going to be like, there's this whole thing in the movie about brotherhood. It's like, who's Charlize Theron's brother? Or, did she have a big boss or something? And I thought,
But there's nothing, is there? There's nothing else. So I don't know. I think it needed a little bit of a dangly carrot to keep us interested.
We don't like a dangly carrot.
Yeah.
So that is our thoughts on Fast and Furious 8. Have we missed anything, chaps?
No.
Great. So do let us
lunchtime.
know. It is lunchtime.
Didn't talk about submarines.
This video has been 3 hours in the making.
Yeah.
I spent the last 5 minutes just shouting at you guys, why don't they do a Fast and Furious Best Exotic Marigold Hotel crossover? And I thought, how come none of you are laughing? And I realised I've been on mute for about 5 minutes.
Dev Patel rocks up.
Yeah.
Right, carry on.
Right, so I'll go back to a roundup. So yes, do let us know what you think of this movie when you've seen it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like and thumb up and all that malarkey. We still need a decent logo for our mouth-off thing, so if anyone can knock one out for us, that would be great.
I'll knock one out this afternoon for you. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
Oh, a
Thanks.
logo. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And we'll see you on the next edition of the Mouth Off Vidcard. Take care. Vidcast. Goodbye. Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.